Hi, my name is Max, and welcome back to Let's Talk About Listening. I'm joined here with,
Hi, I'm Aidan. Yeah.
and we're extremely excited to be back in the studio. Today's topic is Tyler, the Creator, so we're really excited to sort of dive in and get yapping about that. And Aidan, so tell me about Tyler, the Creator. What has your sort of Tyler, the Creator experience been like?
Well, Tyler Creator he's one of my favorites by far, especially when it comes to the hip hop genre. And I think just the coolest thing about him is he's really kind of pushing that boundary of what hip hop is to the point where a lot of people don't even consider him like a hip hop artist, which I think he is. But just the fact that with his production style and combination of what he talks about and just his flow and everything, I just think it all wraps into a one unique artist that, there's really no one like him doing it right now.
I agree. Yeah, he's got this sort of like cool like funk vibe that like he's kind of all over the place. That he's not like a hip hop artist in the way that like Jay-Z's a hip hop artist. Like I feel like especially if you look at his different albums, like Flower Boy and Call Me If You Get Lost. There's just so much different stuff going on in each of them.
Yeah.
It's like each of them is almost like got its own sort of theme, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And like you said, he literally is all over the place. Like, music aside, like, he's probably one of the biggest pop culture pictures that you can see. He's all over social media in so many different aspects. He's got clothing brands, like, just really no one is really doing it like he is.
He's really not. And one of the things that I think is absolutely fascinating about him, especially on social media, is he just speaks his mind. Like, he does not care. Like, you will see time and time again him in like different interviews just saying like his most like unadulterated opinion. Like, he'll just say whatever's on his mind and just rock with it, which I think is honestly great, because I feel like so many celebrities are just out there trying to like appease the public or whatever, and like cater to what fans want. And like in a certain way that's like good, because you want to listen to your fans. They're the people who've given you that success. But at the same time, Tyler does not care. He does not give a he doesn't care, right? Right?
Yeah.
So that, I don't know, I just think it's funny. Just he's his own being.
Yeah, and I think that starts from, I guess, how he started in his music career. I mean, we had his first studio album, Goblin, which is kind of like he's this angsty teenager. He doesn't really know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And you can really see that in the music. We have a lot of like very hardcore production, not really mixed well. It's still very like indie. It's very like underground, and I think that builds this like humorous character that we see now, but in a way different form in terms of this album.
Absolutely. Do you want to talk about sort of his earlier career more? Because I feel like some people, especially who are current Tyler fans, aren't super familiar with his like past.
Yeah, for sure. So we have his first studio album, it's called Goblin, came out in 2011, which follows up one mixtape that kind of had him signed to a record label and everything. But the Tyler you know now with Flower Boy and Call Me If You Get Lost and even Igor is not the same guy when he started. The old Tyler was a very angry, very dark lyrics. I mean, he says some very, very controversial things, homophobic things.
Yep.
And to the point where you would listen to that first album in any capacity and be like, well, this isn't the same guy. Like, this is not the same guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. His no, especially his earlier stuff, it's just so, as you were saying, homophobic, and just like it's like, wow, like some of the stuff that he says is like, it's offensive, like in the extreme. It's like, whoa, okay, like this isn't some guy just saying words to be funny. Like, this is him like genuinely like hating on other people. It's like,
Exactly.
whoa, yeah.
And the one thing I will say about Goblin is we have like two pretty big, I guess, hits that come out of this album. We have Yonkers, which kind of puts him in the more hip-hop space. That's more his hip-hop flow and everything. And then we have She, which is a very, very different type of song, more very chill vibe. We also see Frank Ocean as last episode. We see Frank Ocean on the hook here.
Episode. Look at that, yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, obviously they go back. Frank and Tyler go back very far to Odd Future, which, if you guys don't know, Odd Future was Tyler, the Creator's first collective that he created and assembled with some big names. We have like Frank Ocean, Earl Sweatshirt in there. We have Sid, who ended up going on part of the internet with Steve Lacy, another big name. And that was kind of his first collective where I guess they all kind of met. But back to Goblin. We see this song, She, I mean, so different than the rest. Like, even Yonkers, the other big hit, completely different vibe. And it's almost as if like we see kind of the production style he has now. And you have to wonder if this was where he realized, like, I can make this kind of music and I can grow from this moment.
100%. Yeah, his Goblin. It's just you kind of said it. You kind of said it all. Like she, like definitely a. I don't know. She is different. I feel like it's different from the rest of the songs on the album because it sort of puts him in that sort of like chill vibe.
Yeah.
You know. Whereas the rest of the songs is just kind of like, what is this? You know.
Yeah.
And I'm not hating on it. You know.
Yeah,
By no
yeah.
means am I hating on it. I'm just saying, wow. You know, like it's definitely not the refined sort of Tyler sound that we
hear
have
now.
today. Yeah.
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 And then, I mean, if we move on, going through discography after Goblin, we have Wolf, which came out 2 years later. Again, off rip, just a completely different sound. We see more of like the She style music, a lot chill, like stories being told. I mean, we start to see more of a deep dive into Tyler communicating with his feelings. We have the song Answer, which is about, you know, him growing up without a father, and which certainly is a very big contrast from the things and obviously the homophobic messages he was talking about on Goblin, and it's almost a complete switch.
Yeah, it's definitely really interesting to sort of see that switch, and a mere 2 years later, like it's not like a bunch of time went by and like, you know, he's like, oh, actually, you know, like let me change my mind. Like he just completely switched in like 2 years. Yeah. Definitely. And you mentioned that he growing up he did not have a father. I was watching a video just sort of on his childhood, and he had a very sort of troubled childhood. Like he didn't really fit in with a lot of the people that he went to school with. Like he went and like saw a therapist because he had like a list or something that like not a kill list, but like a list that he wanted to hurt the other kids in his class because he just couldn't connect. Like he just couldn't fit in with them. Like he went and had to go to therapy. So like he was, you know, kind of had a rocky start, you know?
I think part of the beauty of Tyler, the Creator's growth and journey, as you know, as we see him as artists today, is he went from hating that aspect of the fact that he didn't fit in as a kid. Like that's something so hard to go through.
Oh, extremely.
And now we see him with Flower Boy and trying something completely new on Igor. Like he's more of embraced that. Like I'm Tyler, the Creator. I'm not like all of you guys, but I'm still gonna do my thing.
Yeah, he's sort of taken ownership of the fact that he's not gonna fit in. Like he's like, yeah, like I do what I do, you know, like. I gotta rock with it, and you know you gotta respect that, you know, because like it's really cool to see somebody just really own something, like just really make it their own brand.
Yeah,
and I think he really does that, especially with the whole like not fitting in, like not really being able to find his groove kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And back to Wolf. I mean, we still see this growth that we've been talking about and we'll continue to talk about. But we also still see elements of, you know, his Goblin days. I mean, some of the production on some of his harder hitting songs, like strictly reminiscent of Goblin, same production style, same hard hitting drums and all of that. And so the real growth, I think, with this is just the message that he's talking about. I mean, he's just talking about much deeper stuff. Right. Goblin, we just didn't really see those topics that he wanted to mention.
Yeah. Yeah, I think especially as he's sort of gotten more successful and he's sort of been able to be more emotional and be more in touch with his emotions. I feel like Goblin it's just anger, you know, like it's just him just like hating the world because he just couldn't really like get involved in it the way he wanted to, you know, like whereas, you know, like Wolf and then especially like Flower Boy, you really see him sort of get in touch with his like emotions and be like, okay, like, you know, I'm a person too, like, you know, I have feelings too. So yeah 100%.
Yeah, and then moving on from Wolf, we have what is, in my opinion, the most interesting, not good, interesting Tyler, the Creator album that we have.
Good choice of words,
Cherry Bomb, by far the most polarizing Tyler, the Creator. I mean, you have songs like Smuckers and Two Seater, which are these chill, melodic vibes, almost reminiscent of his newer work, and then you have songs like Cherry Bomb, which is just almost like a mess of just whatever. But I do think that there is beauty in that because it really just shows, again, like this growth as an artist. Like he's still tapped into his earlier production, but he's showing that he can make these more refined songs,
right?
And all while doing it in his own way. I mean, no one had ever released an album like this when it came out.
Yeah, it was kind of a lot, you know. Yeah. I'm not super familiar with the album. I really sort of tapped into Tyler, the Creator when Flower Boy came out. But it's kind of a cluster cuss, you know?
Yes,
cluster
it is.
Cuss of an album.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. I will say though, Smuckers is on most of my
Yes,
playlists.
Smuckers is
good. Yeah.
I mean, and that's what I wanted to get into is we see now. We go back to Wolf real quick. We have one big feature, and I would say that's from Pharrell.
Right.
We have Pharrell on that album. This album, we have a lot more sampling going on. We have songs like Buffalo, which incorporate an amazing sample.
Right.
But we also he's still a developing artist, and we've seen not even close to his best work yet. And we have a Kanye feature.
Yep.
Despite everything, at this time that this album came out, he's probably the biggest face in the hip hop.
Right.
On the same song, Lil Wayne, who, I mean, it's Lil Wayne.
It's Lil Wayne. He's got an iconic voice.
He's got an iconic voice. And who am I missing? I know there's a couple other features on that album, but
we have Kali Uchis.
oh yes, we have Kali Uchis on this album too.
Mhm.
Even and it's just I think seeing that now the mainstream culture has tapped into this album and wants to work with Tyler, despite we haven't even talked about Flower Boy or Igor.
We'll
or
get into
Call
it.
Me If You Get Lost. But we have some of these huge names that want to work on his projects with him, which I think is insane at this level.
Yeah, I know. You want to move on to Flower Boy?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
anything you still want to say about Cherry Bomb?
No.
All right.
I'm good with that.
Flower Boy.
Flower
I
Boy.
love this album.
Probably what we're going to talk about for the majority of the time
Probably,
is this era of Tyler, the Creator. One
my
that most
favorite.
people are familiar with. And Flower Boy is one of my favorite albums of all time.
100%.
It's up there. I don't know if it's my favorite Tyler, the Creator album. Sorry, we'll get there. I'll talk about that. But, oh, my goodness. I mean, coming after Cherry Bomb and releasing this
crazy,
absolute 10 out of 10 piece of art is just it is
he came back
insane.
Oh man,
insane.
Before we even talk about the music, let's just talk about the album cover. It's such an iconic album cover.
It's
you know?
iconic.
Yeah. I love it.
With the bees in the background.
And the orange sort of color
gradient.
scheme. Yeah, exactly.
It's just that everyone knows that album cover.
Right.
And so I guess we'll just transition right into features from the last album.
Yeah.
Now we see Frank Ocean once again. We see Rex Orange County on the first song of the track. We see
there's some
Steve Lacy.
Yeah.
Steve Lacy's on one of those. We see again Lil Wayne.
A$AP Rocky. A$AP Rocky, yeah.
Again, we see these huge names that are now collaborating on what a lot of hip hop fans say, or a lot of Tyler, the Creator fans say, is one of the best albums of all time. And
right.
I can't say I don't agree.
I know. Yeah. I mean, they have a damn good point. I remember first listening to this album, being like, "Yo, they got Rex on here. They got Steve Lacy on here. This is crazy. He's got sort of a packed sort of set list. You know? Yeah. So I gotta ask, what's your favorite song from the album?
Okay, maybe controversial. I don't know. I don't know what a lot of people think, but "Where This Flower Blooms," the one with Frank Ocean, second off the track, my favorite. The hook I think is so catchy, and it's phenomenal. I mean, every song is fantastic, but this one definitely is my favorite.
Yeah.
What about you?
I gotta hit him with the 911 Mr. Lonely.
It's a great song.
Yeah,
it's a great
911 Mr. Lonely.
It's a stacked list.
It is a stacked list. And I mean, of course, I love "See You Again," but I'm not gonna be basic and say "See You Again."
Yeah,
Glitter's also really good too. I like Glitter.
Yeah, Glitter's really good.
I feel like Glitter's kind of slept on. "Where This Flower Blooms," great song, love it. But I gotta give it to 911 Mr. Lonely.
I mean, I don't blame you. That's probably my number 2 if I would choose. It's fantastic. I mean, any song with the Frank Ocean hook,
exactly,
can't really beat it.
Exactly.
But
that's one of the things I love about Tyler, is he, I think it's the 10th song of each of his albums is a sort of a double kind of thing. Because if we look at Igor, it's I think it's "I Don't Love You." No, it's not "I Don't Love You" anymore. It's "My Love's Gone" and "Gone Gone Thank You."
Gone
Thank You.
Yes.
Gone Gone / Thank You. Took me a second, but yeah, I love those sort of double songs that he has, and then from "Call Me If You Get Lost," "Sweet I Thought You Wanted to Dance,"
which
phenomenal song. There's just something about the sort of double songs that really
they're always
gets
really
me going.
Good.
Yeah, I feel he doesn't really miss at least on the double songs,
No, we even got a triple song on Wolf.
Yeah, exactly.
The 10th is a triple. It's "Campfire," "Isn't Over," and
Right.
"Beamer." I think are the 3. But
yeah,
I like that aspect. But also, Going back to this growth narrative, biggest change in growth we've seen. I
Oh,
mean,
100%.
obviously we have everything that he's said in the past, but this is his. If for anyone who's watching didn't know, song "Garden Shed" with Estelle is Tyler the Creator's coming out song. So that is where he explains who he is, and he also apologizes for his past behavior. And he goes on to talk about how it was just obviously built up inside of him, so he took that out in anger, not really knowing who he was. Now that he's found out who he was and figured out who he was, he releases this like beautiful song called Garden Shed, and as almost an apology about everything in the past. Which, if you want to talk about growth, I mean, this is kind of the moment where we see that switch from probably to the artist that most people know now.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like this is it's really big because I feel like most artists nowadays will just like post like, a black picture on Instagram and just like some white text like, "Hey, sorry guys, didn't mean to do that."
Didn't mean to do that.
Right,
Yeah.
like just like as a PR stunt, but like he actually took the time to like write an entire song about it and like put it in one of his albums, so that way it's not just like a temporary apology, like
Exactly.
it's there.
Permanent, yeah.
Like it's there, which I think is really significant, especially because so many celebrities nowadays, it's just like, oh, like an apology tweet or something, like stupid and insignificant, but they technically apologize, so they're good to go.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's just a bunch of PR bogus.
But
what were you gonna say?
So speaking of good songs in Garden Shed, I mean, let's talk about the amount of hits on this album.
Oh my God,
yeah, I mean, most
you
obviously, "See You Again,"
100%.
biggest song,
100%.
I think, on his discography, stream wise.
Yeah.
I think it's his biggest. By far, too. I mean, it was huge when it came out. We saw a little bit of resurgence of the song on TikTok trends.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think everybody at this point knows that song. If you're online,
100%,
I think
yeah.
everybody knows that song.
If you are alive and online in this decade,
You've
heard that song. Yeah. No, it's no secret that that's his biggest. I just think he works really well. Like him and Kali Uchis or Uchis, however you pronounce her last name, they just blend so well.
Yeah.
Like even on her song "After the Storm" with Bootsy Collins and Tyler. Oh my God.
Yeah.
One of my absolute favorites. Yeah. Another great one.
Yeah.
But back to Flower Boy. I digress. Yeah. 100%. So many hits on this album. Like you could just like put them all in a hat and like shake up the hat and pick a song out.
Yeah. And someone knows it.
Right.
I mean, we also saw November. The song November had a TikTok trend to it, too. Glitter being the last song. Usually the last song on the album isn't really streamed very high, but I think that's up there. Another good song. I mean, you have 911 Mr. Lonely. Very famous. Very popular. And yeah, I feel like I'm missing a big one, but Who Dat Boy was pretty big for a little bit. But I mean, just in terms of everything, like this was by far his biggest album that reached the most people.
Yes,
100%.
100%. Yeah. Want to move on?
Perfect.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, Igor.
Igor. So we go from this beautiful melodic, very ballady kind of album of Flower Boy, and we move on to Igor, which completely different shift production wise, but message wise is not entirely
different.
Not entirely different. I mean, we see these crazy beats produced by Tyler himself. That are just bass heavy, melody heavy. We see an adverse use of vocal effects to honestly kind of convey his message a lot more. It almost plays into his character. Which is also something we didn't touch on, is how he has a character. He plays a character for every album. I mean, yeah, he was the Flower Boy for the first one, and this one, I forget what his, but for Wolf, it was Wolf Haley. I know it was Sir Baudelaire for Call Me If You Get Lost.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can.
But anyway, regardless of that, it plays into this character that we see. I mean, a lot of that, him in the white wig, is an iconic look.
Right.
Like, a lot of people have seen that music video for Earthquake, which we'll talk about. That was a huge song.
Yeah, 100%.
And going back to what I said earlier, the only reason I don't know if Flower Boy is my favorite is because I think Igor is either just as good or beats it out for me. I mean, for someone who really enjoys the production of music, I mean, this is really pushing it. This is really pushing, like, how you do hip-hop.
Yeah.
I mean... I don't even know if you can call it a hip hop album, but it's phenomenal. And we have a lot of big songs. We have Earthquake with Playboi Carti, which is an interesting duo, but it worked.
I remember the first time I heard that song, I was sitting in my room. One of my friends sent it to me. This is so weird. Like, this is so weird. Like, I was listening, I was like, it's good. But it's just weird, because, like, Playboi Carti and Tyler are two completely different, like,
100%.
completely different ends of the spectrum
Especially
when it
now.
comes to music. Especially now. Like, Playboi Carti, I like some of his music. I will say, I do like some of his music, but, you know, he hates his own fans. Like, he's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, 100%.
Also, the coolest thing is that the Playboi Carti feature is the only listed feature on the album, but not the only feature on the album.
Right.
So Igor's theme, actually, the background vocals are done by Lil Uzi Vert, which
Really?
is
I did not know that.
Yes.
Interesting.
So Igor's theme, he does the background vocals, and then on, it's either Puppet or A Boy's a Gun. If I heard the two, I would know. Is Kanye actually has background vocals too as well.
Interesting.
And so I think the stylistic choice to only list Playboi Carti, which I think is cool, it adds things for the fans to figure out, like, hey, that's not Tyler, the Creator. Who is that?
Right.
And it all just makes up for like a really cool album. I mean, we see, I think the music video for Earthquake's the one where he's on the stage and the wig
Right,
and
yep.
everything. And then we have these other songs that are completely different, like New Magic Wand.
So different.
Which
Complete-
blew
let's
up
see.
kind of
Yeah.
a little after. I think Earthquake was the original hit. I think New Magic Wand's definitely bigger now. We see this like bass heavy, hits hard right off the bat, like very grunge, almost like you took a track off of Goblin,
Right.
put
Brought
it into
back.
the Igor character, and put it on the album.
Right.
Like, so I think it's cool how he's still in touch with some of the aspects that made him from that era of his
100%. Yeah, he's paying homage to, you know, the earlier version of himself, minus all the hate. And,
The hate,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
he took what was good and about that and brought it with him, and
Exactly.
and it shows that he's able to do that in his new character. It shows his growth. Like, yes, I am that person from Goblin,
Right.
but I have grown since then, and now I'm here, and I can still do this, and it's still a part of me. It's still who I am, but I've grown as a person.
Yeah.
You know, I've changed and I've bettered myself, and so it makes for a good story.
It really does.
Yeah,
100%.
and a Grammy winner.
And a Grammy winner.
And a Grammy winner.
Shout out to the Grammys.
His first
Yeah.
Grammy award for Best Rap Album.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
phenomenal category to take,
Yeah. No,
especially as such an interesting album like Igor. To win his first Grammy is awesome.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. I do want to talk about Gone Gone Thank You.
Let's
You
do
know,
it.
It's another one of those double songs. I love the number 9 or 10 spot typically on all the Tyler albums, just because you get that double song. I just feel like he puts a lot of time into them, you know?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's usually the longest song.
Yeah.
By far.
I don't know. There's just something about it. That's all. That's all I really wanted to say. I just wanted to say that I'm a fan.
Yeah, no, it's a great song. I think the production switch up between two halves of the song really shows his prowess as a producer.
Right.
I mean,
This album was all self-produced by Tyler.
Yep.
Which is phenomenal. Obviously with help from others, but
Right.
this was like, he has the credits on it, and it's his.
It's his baby.
And then,
yeah.
Speaking of big switches from Flower Boy to Igor, I think there's also a huge switch from Igor to his latest album,
Call Me If You Get Lost.
Call Me If You Get Lost, where we see his new character is a guy called Sir Baudelaire, which we see is more of this bougie kind of traveler. I mean, the whole suitcase is the big thing. And the postcards, I mean, it's Call Me If You Get Lost.
Yeah, like
so
little,
it fits
like,
into the
stamps on the
character.
suitcase. Yep.
And also, I guess just to fit the theme, the features on this album different than anything we've seen.
Oh,
We see
very different.
Pharrell again. We see Lil Uzi Vert, who helped him out from the last album, get an actual listed feature and a verse. But then we see on Lemonhead,
Yeah.
and we have 42 Doug on Lemonhead, which is crazy. Louisiana, Dirty South rapper, 42 Doug on this kind of album is just something, it works, something I didn't expect to see. When I saw it, I was like, huh, this is going to be weird. But we also have NBA Youngboy
I know.
on a phenomenal song. That song is so good. NBA Youngboy killed that verse. And also from someone who makes such, like, NBA Youngboy makes some, like hard-hitting, dark music, and just to fit on this like happy song about like finding love, or
Right.
it's, I guess that specific song is more about like chasing a girl, but
Right.
just to fit him on that theme and to fit that narrative is like
It's
only
crazy.
Tyler could do that.
Yeah.
Only he could put him on that song and it would work, which
Yeah.
I think is insane.
Yeah, that's well said.
Mhm.
What's your favorite from Call Me If You Get Lost?
Ooh, I might have to say Sweet. I Thought You Wanted to Dance. But and I think that's phenomenal. Also, Brent Faiyaz feature is on that one too. Brent's amazing. He's
Brent's
awesome.
Yeah.
But I really like Safari. Or I'm sorry, I really like Corso. The end of Corso I think is
Corso's
so
good,
so cool.
Mm-hmm.
But we also really see well, one, what I want to note on is the DJ drama. I love it. A lot of people hate it. I love the DJ drama intros for the songs. I think they're so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And DJ drama, a big face in the hip hop, radio, and producing industry. Just his voice is iconic. I mean, him doing the intros and talking like, you know, like stupid stuff. Him and Tyler going back and forth, like we're eating ice cream on a yacht.
Yeah.
And like the song cuts in, like that just adds to like this atmosphere that Tyler wants for this album. This was kind of like his, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna have fun,
Right.
I'm gonna be bougie, I'm gonna dress up, I'm gonna be the traveler, I'm gonna go wherever, I'm gonna flex, I'm gonna show people this is who I am, I want a Grammy, and now I can just do whatever I want.
Yeah, no, it's great. He's almost got like a sort of like a performative, like musical theater sort of like, you know, vibe to like the way he like puts so much time and effort into his albums. You know, like
exactly.
Some artists just release albums and are like, okay, like here's music, like listen to it, like buy the album.
Yeah.
But he's like, he creates like characters, he creates like themes, he creates like, you know, like I feel like he does so much extra that just makes it so much more like enjoyable.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
100%.
saying? Yeah.
And 100%. I agree with the musical theater thing. I mean, everything with the atmosphere just points to that, and just the fact that he's just like, he's flashy and he wants you to know that he's being flashy, and he wants to put it in your face that like he's him and that he's his own person and he does this and he's good at it, and like he wants everybody to know. It's kind of like not his Get Back album, but it's like he's telling the world that, you know, he's killing it and he's making a living.
He's doing what he's
you
doing,
guys can either be here for the ride or not.
Or
and
not.
It's up to you.
Exactly. Exactly. I really do appreciate how different Call Me If You Get Lost, Igor, and Flower Boy are, because I just feel like they're like in three like completely separate directions. I mean, obviously there's overlap, you know, between them, but like as far as like the themes of the albums go, like they're not very similar.
No, not at all.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I really appreciate sort of the different sort of approaches, like the different aspects he like has when it comes to releasing music. You know?
100%.
Yeah.
Also a Grammy winner, Call Me If You Get Lost.
Also a Grammy winner.
Took home Best Rap Album of the Year, like Igor did, which is crazy. I mean, they came out 2 years apart, but back-to-back albums winning Rap Album of the Year. I mean,
it's pretty.
He's
big.
on a run.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see.
Great, you know.
And so now we're in the year 2024. Tyler releases every 2 years. So in 2023, unfortunately, we thought we were getting an album, but we got a deluxe version of Call Me If You Get Lost called Call Me If You Get Lost: The Estate Sale, which at first I was disappointed. And then I listened to it, and I was like, wow, this is really good. Would have liked the full-length album, but I really can't complain. I mean, this deluxe was phenomenal. We see a Wharf Talk with A$AP Rocky. We see a song with Vince Staples, which is, I think is super cool to have those two guys on there. And then we have the single that came out to tease it with a music video called Sorry Not Sorry. Crazy song. So to start off with the beat, I'm gonna start yapping about it.
No, go for it.
It's a crazy song. So start off with the beat. It samples "Pride" by Kendrick Lamar for the second half of the song. So we have a beat switch, and the whole thing is in the music video. You can totally pick this up. Is he plays all of his characters from his different albums, and each couple lines you see like either the tone shift or literally the volume of his voice shift, and those are like the different characters, and they talk about how he's grown, how he's not that people. And in the music video it concludes with his current self killing all of his like past alter egos and characters, kind of to show that like he's where he is now. He was those people, he's done with that, and he's through, which again adds to this constant narrative of growth that we're talking about. I mean, his journey from where he started is absolutely, it's just astonishing to see where he started and where he's ended up, especially just in his realm of music too.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's like just even what I was saying earlier, like he's going so above and beyond. Like this is like very theatrical of him, you know? Like alter egos, like, you know, killing them at the end. Like it's kind of cool cuz you know, you don't see a whole lot of artists going, you know, this sort of deep into their work and like, you know, fleshing it out like this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a, you know, a really cool thing. And as of recently, after that estate sale, we haven't seen too much from him. We've seen a feature here and there. He's done a couple collabs with a couple people, you know, lending a couple words. But I mean, hey, next year's next year. We'll probably get a new album. He hasn't really teased anything.
Yeah. No, he hasn't.
But
he hasn't been super active.
No, he's been hanging out with a couple people.
Yeah.
I mean, for any of you who watch this and know who Faye Webster is, him, Faye Webster, and Lil Yachty were all hanging out the other day and eating ice cream, and he posted on his TikTok, which I thought was really funny.
That's cool, yeah.
Because those are just three out there. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he does something with Lil Yachty with how he's went, but that's not what this episode's about.
Fair, that's fair, yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping we hear more from him soon. And I mean, I'm sure he'll, you know, continue to be active on social media. I mean, he's a funny guy. He loves that stuff.
100%. Yeah, he lives for the media.
Yeah,
he just does
100%.
whatever. Have you ever seen him in concert?
I've not, and I almost did. I had tickets March something at Madison Square Garden. I was gonna go, and I got really sick like 2 days before, and I could not go. It was, I wish. A couple of my friends have seen him twice. He's one person that I have not seen that I want to see.
What did your friends think of him?
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah.
They saw him for Call If You Get Lost.
Nice.
So
Nice. That's cool. That's
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. No,
Very
100%.
fun. All right. Anything else you want to add?
I don't know. No, I think I'm pretty good.
I think I'm pretty good.
I think I've
All right. Well, this has been Let's Talk About Listening. Make sure to give us a follow on our Instagram at LTAL_Graycom. I'm Max.
And I'm Aidan.
Thanks again for watching, and be sure to tune in for next episode.